So we will do. So last class we will discuss about graphical user interface testing and usability testing. So in this session, um, let's start with the functional testing. So functional testing means this is the main part, okay, that we have to focus. So graphical user interface, usability testing will do as part of graphical user interface. So as part of this, we mainly focus on functional testing. So what is functionality? So, what is functionality? It means the behavior of the application and how the product or software is behaving. So, whether it is working or not as per the requirement. Okay, that is functionality. So, for example, if you take a Gmail application, I said login is one functionality, composing one functionality. So send to box, delete items like trash box. So this is functionalities, right? One functionalities. So while composing CC, BCC is also one functionality. So if you take any application, there will be some functionality, right? So we are going to test that. So not focusing on UI element, focusing on functional elements. So for example, text box. So in the graphical user interface testing, there is a text box size. Text box means it is aligned or not. Size of the text box, width of the text box, length of the text box. So once you come to the functionality, we are going to test more on that. So which is accepting the characters properly or not. So there will be some validations that we have to do. So if you take one example here, um, so there is a username, right? Username, there is a text box. This is a text box. Okay. And username allowed 8 characters only. So as part of the requirement, it should contain uppercase, one number, one special character. Okay. That is our requirement. And accordingly, we prepare some test data. So and we are verifying that test data is allowing or not. So what is the definition of this? So functionality is nothing but behavior of application. And functional testing talks about how your feature should work. So functional means what? Something it should work according to the requirement. As part of the functional testing, like what kind of testing we have to conduct, where exactly we have to focus. So there are some properties are there. So object properties testing, database testing, error handling, calculations or manipulation testing, link existence and link execution, cookies and sessions. So let us understand one by one. So first one is object properties testing. So object means what? What is the meaning of object? Something and element. Something and element means what? So button, text box, checkbox, logo, and so on. So what we have to verify here? So every element on a web page is having certain number of properties. So what is that? So for example, I will take another example. So let us say there is a small text box I have. So what are the properties of this text box? So this is a text box. Okay. So this is I have, and what are the properties of this text box? That text box can be enabled and can be visible. So if the text box is enabled, it means what? We can provide the text, right? If the text box is disabled, so I cannot enter the text. So enable, disable, there are attributes or we can say properties. So similarly, there are radio buttons. So radio buttons means female, male. So at a time, we can select only one radio button, either male or female. So this is what I am saying. This is object properties testing. So we can select only one daytime. This is called properties enable or not, disable or not. If I select male button, female will be disable. And if I select a female button, so male will be disable. So similarly, drop down menu. So there are multiple items will be there. So if I click on this, it will show different options will be displayed. So but at a time, we can select only one option in this. So there are list of countries. Um, List of countries means countries. I'm taking just example. Okay. Sometimes we have a list boxes. In that case, we can select to multiple. So here we have multiple elements displayed, and we can select to more than one element. So here display all the elements. So these are all different properties. I will take another example. This is a login screen and username password. So when I enter the username, immediately the cursor goes to the next text box. Um, I don't know if you see or if you notice or not in your real life example. So if you enter the username, immediately the cursor goes to the next text box, that is password. So this is called focus attribute or focus property. So we can call focus property. So these kind of things we have to verify. So every property, whatever you can see on the page, is having certain number of property. So those properties we have to verify as part of object properties testing. So what is the definition? So object properties testing. So check the properties of objects present on the application. So for example, enable, disable, visible, focus, etc. And what is the next one? Database testing or backend testing. So this is another major area that we have to test. So here we need to know SQL language. Okay. We need to know SQL knowledge and need to know some basic SQL commands. So which are very, very important for this database testing. So database testing is a huge kind of testing and it's not a simple testing. Okay. And here as a functional tester, we can do some basic data testing like functionality level. But internally, we have to do a lot of testings under database testing. So we have a separate and skill testers we required to perform this database testing. And what exactly we do? So database is a storage area where exactly the data will be stored, and that comes under backend part. So we can say this is a backend part. Okay, backend testing. So as a tester, we mainly focus on DML operations. DML means data manipulation language. So this data manipulation language operations is working fine or not. When I say database, let me tell you what exact it is. So every software have two different layers. What is that? Front end and back end. So back end is nothing but database where exactly the data will be stored. And we are browsing the data from the UI. Now, in database testing, we are mainly focused on back end. So for example, let us say UI application. So user is always interact here. And at the back end, we are something called database. Okay. This will be located in somewhere remote locations. Okay. So actually the data stored in the database. Now, whatever we are browsing in the UI will send to database. And see, I will show the example. So the data stored in database. And now here we are sitting and we are browsing in the UI and it will send to the database, right? And it will getting the data from the database. So, but as a user, I can't use the database, right? In database testing, we are mainly focused on particular database component. Now, in database testing, there are two things. Black box and white box is also there. So we can say functional and non-functional testing. And for example, as a functional tester, what you will do is here in the UI side, so you will set up certain operations like inserting the data, submitting the data, and updating the data, or deleting or selecting the data. So those are basic DML operations. When I do this operation from the UI, those operations are properly working at the database level or not. So that we are going to verify as part of database testing. So at the beginning level, so actually the data will be stored in the form of tables. So tables means here. So we have different tables like I'm browsing the employee table. For example, as just assume this is the employee table. So I want to add one new employee in my database through UI. So through UI, so one new employee I'm going to add in my database. So where exactly the employee data will be stored? In the employee table, right? So there will be a table, and inside the data, or we can say table, the data will be stored. Suppose I want to get the details of employee on the UI part. So whatever we have seen, that is UI. And backend, it is database. And database, and in the database, there is a table. So that is what I'm seeing. So I want to get the details from the of employee on the UI side. So I will send the employee ID to the database through UI, and I will get back the data from this table, and I want to update the details of the employee. So I can get the data from the table and update the data and resend it. So I want to delete that another is, and I want to delete the record from the table. So I can simply perform the delete action. That record will be deleted from the table. So these operations we are going to perform from the UI. And whenever do some action or operations, and the database tables will be affected. Okay. So when I submit the data will be inserted in the table. When I update the data will be updated or modified. So when I delete the data, so the data will be deleted from the table. When I retrieve the data, or we can, or when I select the data is coming from the table and present on the UI. So these are the basic operation that working or not. So that we are going to test as part of database testing. So they are called DML operations, and it is in SQL. SQL means insert, update, delete, select commands. So we are going to use these commands to perform this testing. So whatever operations we are doing from the UI that are affecting the table on the database or not. So the communication between the UI and database is working fine or not, that we are going to test as part of UI testing. So as a beginner, mainly focus on DML operations. So in the database testing, we are sending the data, updating, deleting from the UI, and this is one testing. Another side, we are logging into the database, and we are executing certain number of queries, that is SQL queries. So to retrieve and or see the data from the table. So what exactly we are doing is, from the UI, we are doing black box testing because we don't know the coding. We are just sending the data, and in the backend side, log in and into the database, and we are writing some queries here to check this data, and that comes under white box testing area. So the database testing include both black box and white box. So if combine these two, we call gray box testing technique. So you can ask, what is black box and white box? Okay. So what is this is one interview question. What is black box and white box? An interview question is, can you give me some example of gray box? Then do you have something called gray box testing? So you just tell them. So yes, we have something called gray box testing, and database testing is the example of gray box testing. So initial level we have to do this much. Apart from this, there will be a lot of things that we test. So, but there should be dedicated skill testers to perform in detailed database testing. So as a tester, you have to know the SQL, that is mandatory should have. So in interviews, they will ask some SQL queries, at least basic level. If you got opportunity of database testing. So it is very important. And apart from this, what else that we test on database? So in database, we are validating the table level. Okay. So just example, just assume, and this is a employee table, and this is a Mm. So just assume, so in database, we are validating the table level, like how many columns that we have in the table. So what kind of data that we can insert in the table. Okay. So and size of the column, number of rows are available, number of fields are available. So there are multiple tables sometimes we have. So whatever submit the data in the UI, that will be stored in the multiple tables. So for example, this is employee table and this is department table. So connection will be there or relation will be there. So that relationship we have to verify. And also we are verified like functions, procedures, triggers. So these comes under SQL. So if you want to verify these things, you need to know in depth of SQL and PL/SQL. PL/SQL means PL means procedure language. So if you these two things you can perform in the database test. So apart from these, internally in the table of database, we have to test a lot of things. Sometimes there is a views, index, cursor. So there are number of things. So there are database related concepts. So what is the definition of this? Checking database operations with respect to user operation. So DML operation, data manipulation language, insert, update, delete, select. So this is what I'm saying. So table level validations means column type, column length, number of columns. Column type means it is number or character or ID or name. Column length means 15 or 20 characters allowed. So this type of length we have to validate. A number of columns in a table. So after that, relation between the tables. That is another thing. It is called normalization. So verify functions, procedures, triggers, views. So these things we have to focus. And when we do in detail database testing, that comes under white box testing part. So that's why I'm saying checking database operations with respect to UI or user operations. And next part is error handling testing. So it mainly focus on error messages. For example, if you're working on UI part, okay. So when doing invalid action means the application should display some message to the user on the UI. Okay, just assume. So your application showing some message, okay, on the UI part. So Gmail application. So login is there. This one is most important while testing. So main focus is verifying the error messages on the UI. What is definition of this? Testing, tester verify the error message while performing incorrect action on the application. So the error message should be readable or understandable and it should be simple language. So simple language that also we have to check. So for example, there is a username and password. Okay. And login screen. Okay. I'm talking about login screen. There is a username and password. So, if you are giving invalid username or valid password, then it displayed error message. So, you will not log in. So, there is a difference between, it's showing one error message. So, incorrect data, what I'm saying, I'm taking one example. Username you entered invalid. Okay. Password valid. Okay. And it's showing one error message. So error message, what is one? First one, incorrect data. Second one, invalid user. So these are error messages. So which one is clarity? Incorrect data is a clarity and invalid user is a clarity.
Second
Valid
one.
user. Okay.
Yeah. So invalid user is a clarity. So that's why I'm saying the error message should be readable and it should be the simple language and understandable. That also we have to check. So if it is showing, then for example, it shows incorrect data, then what do you think? So username is invalid or password is invalid. So we can't find out, right? So that's why error message also should be understandable and readable. So invalid user means okay, directly we should think like okay, username whatever I have given, that is invalid, that is incorrect. So that's why what will happen? We will go and change the username. Okay, that is the meaning of error handling testing, and this is the way we are doing. So next, calculations or manipulation testing. So sometimes you have a certain number of calculations, especially financial applications, banking applications, and there will be some calculations. And those calculations are properly working or not, that we have to verify. For example, if you take a banking application, so you have some total balance 50,000. Okay. And after sending to other, how much? 20,000. Okay. So it should display proper balance. How much? 30 balance, 30,000. So you should verify these type of calculations are working on it. Actually, this is very simple calculations, but in financial and banking application, there was a very complex calculations. So when test the calculations, we should check valid and invalid data also. So while testing, this we have to focus mainly on data. So for example, um, number one, for example, number one is 2 and number 2, it is 5. So you can just add it. Okay. How much? 5 plus 2? 7. Right. So this also we have to focus and we have to check, mainly focus on data. Data means what? If you give a 2 and 5, this is a positive number. If we give negative number, for example, minus 2, okay, if I give a minus 2 and plus 5, then what is the result? 3, right? So when I give a 0, both are 0. So then what it happen? So when I give both minus value, what it gives? When I give small numbers, when I give big numbers, how this application is working irrespective of calculations that we have to verify. Okay. And this is this is the way of calculation or manipulation testing. And next one, link existence or link execution. So see, link existence and cookies and sessions related to web applications. Completely, it's related to web applications. If you are working with mobile application or desktop applications, these two are not applicable. So I'm saying, if you are working with mobile applications or desktop applications, these two are not applicable. Why I'm saying? So link existence means, so in web applications, you can see some links, right? So where the links are exactly placed. So few things we have to focus here. So link exactly placed means link existence. Okay. So performed action when I click on the link, that is link execution. Just know the difference between link existence or link execution. Link existence means where the links exactly place, and link execution means perform the action when I click on the link, that we have to verify. There are three types of links: internal link, external link, broken link. So let us understand one by one. So internal link means when I click on this link, okay, there is a link, and when I click on that, which will navigate to same page in different section. That is internal link. So external link means when you click on the link, which will give another page or navigate to some other page, that is external link. And broken link means the link will be there but doesn't have any action. So it's not navigating to another page. So if you are observe or not, sometimes developer place broken links also for future purpose. So if we wanted to implement some other pages, so they have to keep in the current web page. So these links we have to be verified. So I'm repeating once again. Internal link means when I click on that link, which will navigate to the same page in different section. Okay. And external link means when I click on the link, which will give another page or navigate to some other page. And Broken link means when you click on that link, but it doesn't have any action. It does not give any, I mean, we are not going to enter in another page. So that is broken link. So cookies and sessions. When you're working some application through an internet, so you are browsing some web applications, okay, some Amazon.com, yeah, Pintra.com. So you are getting the details from web page. So where we getting the data? Already I have told you. From backend, right? So this is the UI part, UI phase, and we are browsing something we are browsing something like from through Chrome or through Microsoft Edge, Firefox, anything. And we are browsing something like Amazon.com, Myntra.com, any web application. So here, backend there is a data and server side. So when I do this, our browser is intelligent enough to save the data. For example, you are having some application and log into the application. So you are providing username and password and done some action and successfully login. So after doing some actions and without clicking on log out, what I'm saying, after doing some actions and without clicking on log on, just close that page. Then what happened? The browser will remember the data. How? Because the browser saved in the cookies in the form of info. So cookies means so temporary files which are created, okay, by the browser while you browsing the data through internet. So another example, you can take a Gmail application and browser is saving the cookies or not. Okay, Gmail application, when you enter the username and password and you successfully log in and you do some actions, and after that, what happened? You just do without logout, you just close that page. So what happened when you open that Gmail application? It will automatically open without login. So browser is saving the data in cookies. So that we also verify the browser is saving the cookies or not. Okay, and it's completely related to web applications. And what is meaning of sessions? So basically cookies related to the browser from the client side will be created. So wherever browsing the data, it's saved in cookies, but sessions, okay, but sessions will be created in the server side. It means, for example, Gmail application, I successfully log in. Okay, after this, don't do any activity. Just leave it as it is for 1 or 2 minutes. After 1 or 2 minutes, again do some actions in Gmail. Then it will ask again username and password. Not Gmail application. Especially we you will observe in banking applications. So banking applications, what happened here? The time slot will be created at the server side. So as soon as working on the application, this will be open. But once you stop working on the application, then it will count how many seconds it is inactive or not active. So it will wait for few seconds, then immediately it will close the sessions. So if you want to do action, again it will ask username and password. So it will show the session is expired. So I think you will face this scenario. It is created for security mechanism. So session is nothing but time slot which will be created for your activity, which is doing from the front end application. That things we have to verify. So especially only for web application, not applicable for another applications. Okay. Is it clear for you?
It's clear.
And next, non-functional testing. So non-functional testing means, so after functional testing is done, non-functional testing will start. Okay, let me write down. So what I'm saying, after functional testing is done, non-functional testing will start. So because once the functionality is stable, non-functional testing will be conducted. So first we will see what is the definition of this non-functional testing. So once the application here, so once the application functionality is stable, then we do non-functional testing. The mainly focus, okay, the mainly focus on the customer. I mean, the mainly focus on the customer expectations. It is not focused on the customer requirement. So just understand what is the difference between customer requirement and customer expectations. Okay. So if you take up banking applications, just we will discuss, just we have, let us understand what is requirement and what is expectations. Banking application. Okay. It contains some functionalities, right? So there is a login, that is one functionality, transfer fund, check balance. These all are requirements, right? And while performing functional testing, we are mainly focused on these requirements, whether it is working or working properly or not. And whereas while coming to expectations, requirement is okay. Okay. And when I try to use that application, performance is very low. So I'm not getting the pages quickly, or my application not much secured. So another people can't access the data. So it should not happen like this, right? So that is called expectations. So my application should work on different environment. That is my expectation. My application should respond very faster. That is my expectation. So my application should be safe from the user, should be safe from the hackers. That is my expectation. So requirement means what? So some features to be there in the application. Expectation means what? How I am expecting the application as a user. How my application should work, safe from the hackers, quickly respond, and my application installed in multiple environments. So functional testing mainly focus on requirement of the customer. Non-functional testing mainly focus on expectations from the customer. Okay, I hope you understand this point. So the main focus is on performance testing. So if you see that non-functional testing, there are number of testings are there. So performance testing, security testing, and there are number of testings. How much load it is accept. So suppose there is a web application, okay, and if 10 people browsing the application at the same time, perfect at the same time perfectly working. So suddenly, if 10 people browsing the application, so it's perfectly working. So suddenly load is increased. 100 people accessing the application at the same time. So the application will goes down. It completely broken. So that is not customer expectations, right? So even though number of people increasing, the application should be stable and every people should access the application with the same speed. That is our customer expectations. So non-functional testing focus on performance, load, security, recovery. So all these accepts. So after functional testing, we conduct non-functional testing. So let us understand one by one what is functional testing. So as I said, non-functional testing, not much that easy. So it required a special people to conduct this testing. To conduct a performance testing, they are having own environment. So they should be maintain high volume servers, high capacity machines, high load, like 5 machines, 10 machines like that. So if in security testing, if you take a security testing, so there will be dedicated people. They are having special skill set. So if they are trying to hack the application and they are trying to test the application using security testing tool. So that is non-functional. That is different kind of skill set is needed. So non-functional testing is not easy as we think. So they require special people, special environment, special skills, and advanced skills to perform non-functional testing. So performance means what? So speed of the application, how well my application is responding when I access the application with multiple number of people. So that is the meaning of performance. So there are mainly three testing conduct. Okay, load testing, stress testing, volume testing. So let us try to understand with example. So load testing means what? So my application is installed on my server machine. Okay, um, just please attend to my words. So my application is installed on my server machine. So most of them web applications. Okay. Performance testing will be done in web application. Just remember. So if desktop application is there, there is no need this testing to conduct because it is a local machine. So speed always will be there. So no need to do any testing. So I have a server machine. It means where the application is installed. Now I'm accessing the application through my browser by user. So here user accessing the application. So he will send the request to the server and he will get the response from the server. In the load testing, what he will do is slowly increasing the number of users like one user, two users, three, four, five. So if you take this example like this, so suddenly what happened? Something here, UI part there is a browser and the database there is a server. Okay. So what we are doing here? Map accessing the application through my browser and we are accessing the application and I will send the request to the server and I will get response from the server. But in the load testing, what he will do, what I'm doing here. So slowly increasing the number of users, like one, two, three, four, five. So till a certain number of users, we will increasing the load slowly, like incremental level. Then we will verify the response time. So how much speed it is, how well the application is responded. If we have one user, how much the speed it is and respond time. And if we have two, three, four, five, up to 100 people, okay, and 100 people accessing the same application at the same time, then what is the speed of the application? That we are going to verify, and that comes under load testing. Okay, is it clear, guys?
Clear.
So load testing means so increasing the load on the application slowly, then check the speed of the application. Here, some performance requirement. You need to know the requirement. Like initially, customer will tell you like I have this number of people and accessing my application in the same time. So you also have to conduct load testing with this number of people, and that is our requirement. So customer says 100 people, we will test the application with 100 people, 100 different requests. So we can't replicate in the real environment, right? So again, we will use certain number of tools like load testing, performance testing tools. So those tools creates virtual users. Actually, we are not replicating the physical users, right? Suppose customer said 100 people and 100 people trying to access my application in my organization. But 100 people, how you can take a test and how you replicating the environment in companies? So we cannot keep 100 people, right? And we cannot keep 100 machines. So we have certain tools by using that we can create virtual users. We can hit the request to the server. So that comes under load testing. So there are number of tools, but I know just two tools like load runner, that is a load testing tool, and JMeter also, that is one of the tool of load testing. We can do that load testing by using that tools. So without setting n number of machines, without setting n number of peoples, still we can use performance testing by using those tools. So while testing, is there any chance to break the application? That we have to check. So sometimes what happens for one user, two users, three, four, 10 users, it is working fine. Okay, working fine. So after reaching 20, 30, 50 users, slowly down the application. So after that, once you reach 100, application server will be down. We will not able to access the application. So where exactly it is breaking down, that we have to check. If it is breakdown, ask a developer to improve the application. So sorry. So load testing determines the behavior of the application when multiple users use it at the same time. So next, stress testing. So stress testing means people will feel both are same. Okay, but see, load testing and stress testing is completely different. See, but they are not exactly same. A small difference is there. So load testing means gradually increasing the load on the application, and stress means suddenly increasing the load on the application and suddenly decreasing the load on the application. Just I'm writing down here. Load means gradually increasing the load on the application. Stress means suddenly increasing, and load decreasing the load on the application. So gradually means one, two, three, four. Okay. Load means one by one you are increasing the load. And stress means suddenly increasing and suddenly decreasing. Means what? Suddenly increase, I am increasing 50 numbers, 50 peoples, and suddenly decreasing 10 peoples. This is the meaning of that. So and check the speed of the application. And somewhere it is broken or not, that we have to verify. Okay. So for example, if you take a Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, and e-commerce application, so there is a offer time, right? Offer times means what? Increasing people. Suddenly servers will. So in offer time, there are number of people are using the application, right? Suddenly increasing the people. So suddenly servers will goes down, and this is called stress testing. Okay. So we have to verify the speed and checking, and it is broken or not. And suddenly, we suddenly increase the people like 100 members. We suddenly decreasing the people like 20 members. And this is a common scenario. Every time it will happen in internet. So when users increase, how our application is responding. So if one server, two servers is not enough, then increase multiple number of servers. And in every server will be placed the application. So if one server is down because of higher load, then another server will take the request and process. This is alternative setup in the company. So what is the definition of this? So there is a big difference. The goal of stress testing is measuring software on its robustness and error handling capability. So under extremely heavy load conditions, and make sure that software does not crash under crunch situations or critical situations. It even tests the operating points and evaluate how the software works under extreme conditions. So that is the meaning of stress testing, and that we are doing like that. So volume testing. Let us see. Volume testing means size. So how much the data or application will handle. So for example, if you take a web application, and this is a web application, and you are browsing the application through UI, and this is my database. So actually, whatever the data is passing through the application, it will store in database. So there are n number of tables will be there in database, and data will also stored in database. Okay, so here in this application, normally we will send the data. Lot of people accessing the application, and these people sending the data, right? And how much the data will be able to handle. So because there should be some limit, right? And here he is sending 10 records. For example, he's sending 10 records, and second person sending 100 records, third person sending 150 records. So all these records will be able to fit in the database or not, and if it is not, it will throw error message, or sometimes it will goes down. So if the data is very huge, in that case we will verify the volume testing. Let's see the definition. So it is basically performed to analyze the, sorry, it helps to test the software application with certain amount of data, and the amount used in volume testing could be a database size, or it could be also be the size of an interface file, that is the subject of volume testing. So next, security testing. So security testing means how well the application providing security. So because when I try to access the application through online, there must be some security, right? For example, banking application, financial application, there are more sensitive. There are more sensitive data will be there. So security must be there. So basically we are verifying how secure our application. So few things we have to verify. So in security testing, like use testing like database and performance, so needs separate skill set, dedicated team to perform. So different security testing tools are available. Hacking tools are available. So this is done by the specialist, not by normal testers. So in this testing, we mainly focus authentication and authorization. So let us understand this. What is authentication and authorization? Authentication means the valid user able to access application or not, that we have to verify. So users are valid or not. So if the people are valid, allow the authentication. If the people are not valid, does not allow and do the action. So that is authentication. So authorization means or access control means if the user is valid, then he can do certain things on the application, but not everything. He will not do access on everything. Only something he can access. Okay. So if you take a banking application, so mm, so there is a multiple departments. Okay. Just writing down here. For example, this is a uh, retail department, and this is a account department, and this is a invest. Okay, investment, and this is a admin. Okay. So what I'm saying, banking application means as a user and all this application in one department. That is banking application. So as a user, I can able to log into the application. That is authentication. So once it is done, this particular user belongs to particular department. Suppose he belongs to account department. So he should able to access only account department. That is authorization. So similarly, admin department. So he can able to access everything because he is admin. If he belongs to investment, he can access only investment feature only. That is called access control. So what we are going to verify? We verify permissions of the valid user. So what are the features they can able to access that we have to verify. So these comes under authorization. So authentication and authorization that comes under security testing. So I hope it's clear for you. There are a number of testings are there still. Just a minute, guys. Yeah, sorry guys. Sorry for the inconvenience. So I hope you understand what is the difference between authentication and authorization. So this is the explanation of that. So next, what is recovery testing? So we will see from here recovery testing. Okay. So from recovery testing, compatibility, configuration, installation, we will see in the next session. Um, Clear, guys? Kiran and Rajesh?
Yes.
Yes, it's clear. Yes.
Yeah. So shall we continue tomorrow?
So can continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, guys, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day. Take care.
So do you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Bye.